Willkommen im Club O. Wieder eine neue Sendung, diesmal heute mit einem ganz speziellen Gast, Jeff Oster. Er hat einen Grammy gewonnen und hat eine Menge Sachen veröffentlicht und wir wollen heute mit ihm sprechen, ihn vorstellen und auch Werke von ihm vorstellen. Das heißt, live ist im Kern unsere Diskussion mit ihm und das ganze Gespräch. Live sind natürlich nicht die Videos, die wir zeigen, das sind Aufnahmen von Jeff Oster mit verschiedenen Bands von ihm. Und die Show leitet wie immer Stella.
Dankeschön.
Bitte.
Welcome, Club O fans. We have a big surprise and a treat for you today. We are going to be featuring the music of Jeff Oster. Jeff Oster is a Grammy Award-winning trumpet and flugelhorn player who currently lives in California. And he's had 7 solo albums and dozens of other collaborations over the years. So we're going to be featuring a few of his live performances, as well as getting to know a little bit about Jeff Oster, who many of you may know, and if you don't know, that he's been referred to as the Miles Davis meets Pink Floyd. Jeff Oster, who plays trumpet and flugelhorn, is calling in remotely from his studio in Alameda, California, and we are currently in our studio, the Funky Way Studios, in Unterweiler, Germany. So, without further ado, welcome, Jeff. Thanks for joining us today.
I'm certainly happy to be here halfway across the world. Isn't technology amazing?
It is amazing. So we are thrilled to have you. And I've been listening to your music all day to get really psyched up for this interview. And I can't even tell you which cuts from your albums are my favorite, or which bands that you've been with are my favorites, or which pictures on your website that are my favorites. But one question I have to ask you, can you tell me about your first gig? How'd you get hooked?
Well, there's a couple of them. First, let me clarify one thing. You said I was Grammy Award winning. I've played on some Grammy Award winning albums, but I personally haven't won a Grammy yet. Let's work on that. So my first paid gig, I was 18 years old, and it was playing taps at a veteran's funeral, standing behind a tree at the cemetery. My band director, high school band director, got me the gig. So that was my first actual paid gig. I got paid $10. And so my first actual playing live gig was actually with a power trio. And they would play like Jimi Hendrix, like a bass, drums, and guitar. Jimi Hendrix and a little bit of Pink Floyd and just all kinds of rock and roll stuff, right? And a power trio. And I knew the guitar player, the leader of the band, and they had a gig up in North Miami Beach at a mob-owned restaurant. And the gig was from 9 o'clock at night till 5 in the morning. That was actually how long the gig would go.
That's brutal.
So I would go for no money to start with. And I would play the horn, like they would do Sweet Caroline, and I would play. So I would do all this stuff, and then this is how I learned how to play percussion, because the drummer in the band said, "Listen, you can't play trumpet on every song. Here's a maraca, here's an afuche, here's a guiro, so triangle." So that was my first gig, actually playing with a power trio until 5 in the morning. It was kind of trippy, actually.
Hendrix. You played in a Hendrix cover band.
I would play with like Us and Them, Pink Floyd, make up some horn part. Pretty hilarious.
That's great.
Actually.
That's great. So I'm glad you mentioned the horn, because I know you play both the trumpet and the flugelhorn. And before we listen to the first cut, have you had your horns a long time?
Well, here.
Oh, good. We get to see them.
So this is my flugelhorn.
Mm-hmm.
And you ever remember Chuck Mangione's album, Feels So Good?
Mm-hmm.
Which came out in about 1976, 1977. There's a picture of Chuck like this, holding with his arms wrapped around his horn. I think that's the cover of the album. So I obviously love that song, and I researched to find out what exact flugelhorn was Chuck Mangione playing, and it's this exact one. So
Wow.
I at the time I had some money from a whole other way of getting the money. I got a bunch of money from one of those chain letters where you send $50 to the person at the top and you put your name at the bottom. I got like $6,000 from that thing. I would come home every day and there'd be these the mailbox would be full of these envelopes with like $50 in it. You pile it up on the floor. So I had cash. So it's a trip. So I bought this flugelhorn then through the mail from Yamaha, like from a music store. I had it delivered to Eugene, Oregon, where I was living back then. And it's the same horn. I've played this same horn since 1977. It's a Yamaha flugelhorn.
So we're going to listen to a cut, one of your live recordings recorded at the Phoenix in California, in Palo Alto?
San Rafael.
San Rafael, right.
It's closed now, sadly, but yes.
It's closed, of course. Unfortunately, many clubs have closed. And are you going to be playing that flugelhorn on the cut on Serengeti?
Absolutely, the exact flugelhorn.
Well, why don't we take a little break and cue that up, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. Jeff Oster at the Phoenix playing Serengeti on that flugelhorn. Hi, thanks for joining us at Club O Online Concerts. If you've just joined us, you've been listening to Jeff Oster live, and to our German-speaking audience, Edgar's going to say
Für
something.
unsere deutschen Freunde, das war Jeff Oster im Phoenix in der Bay Area in der Nähe von San Francisco mit seiner Band Jeff Oster Band. Und er hat vorher noch einiges erzählt, wie er zu diesem Flügelhorn gekommen ist, dass er über einen Kettenbrief, zumindest aus dem Geld, dem Bargeld eines Kettenbriefs vor vielen Jahren kaufen konnte.
So Jeff, that was a powerhouse of a band you had with you. Of course, you had, Michael Manring on bass, Frank Martin on keys, Todd Boston. We're going to hear some more from him later, and Celso Alberti on the drums. I mean, amazing. How? I mean, I don't want. I have so many questions that go through my head. I'm not going to say how do you get to play with these guys, but I know how much they love playing with you, and you moved into a genre, obviously, which some people would call new age. But when I listen to that music, it's not new age. It's something completely different. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the difference between my recorded music and my live music. As a horn player, I've always focused on melody. I'm not a really straight ahead bebop player, and I'm not a super high note lead player, but I like tone, right? I like to make it sound pretty, and I really like melody. I learned how to play, or as I was learning how to play, my father was a singer of standards, a lot of 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s music. He would sing in the other room, and I would play along in like these fake books, these books with different jazz songs. And I learned how to make the horn sound like it's singing, like I hear vocals basically, right? It's like a vocal type of a playing. So my new age, quote unquote, description, a lot of it has come from my association with Will Ackerman, who we'll also, I think, hear from later as well. But Will was the founder of Windham Hill Records, which is sort of known for new age music. But when I decided to finally play live and get a band together to help me make these songs translate into a live environment, my choice of musicians has takes the whole thing to a completely different direction. It's more like weather report or if I dare say, Return to Forever or something like that. And all of that has to do with every one of those players in the band are amazing artists just by themselves. But with these musicians, all you have to do is point. And it's like this ridiculous jam happens. And you point to the next guy, and it's another jam, and the whole band comes in. It's magical, that band. As a matter of fact, on that song, there's a place at the end of the track we're playing, and Celso just stops and then starts going again. And this was totally not cute. And the entire band stopped and started going. And I just stopped playing in the middle of the phrase. And I had to turn around and look at him and just shake my head. I said, dude, really? How do you do this? It was just so great. So, that band I'm so blessed to be with them. I brought them to Mexico this year. And the last time really all of them have played in a band live was that show down in Sao Pancho. So they're amazing. I mean, amazing.
Well, let's listen to another cut from that particular performance. By the way, Serengeti is off of which album? True.
And it's co-written with a gentleman named Samate Molando. Samate, he goes by. And there's a whole part of that song on the record where he actually speaks in Lugandan, and about the Serengeti, about all the animals and stuff like that. It's very cool. It's from True.
So we're going to listen to that band again, this time featuring a little bit of Todd Boston, who wrote this next song called Full Moon.
Das war Jeff Osters Band, wieder im Phoenix in der Bay Area. Das Lied heißt Full Moon. Jeff Oster hat vorher noch erzählt von den einzelnen Leuten der Band, wie er sie kennengelernt hat. Kann ich jetzt aber im Detail nicht alles so, vor allem nicht so lebendig übersetzen.
Do you like the way I speak German without moving my lips?
It's amazing.
It's amazing, right?
You have a whole new career.
Yeah, as a ventriloquist, a German ventriloquist. It's great. So for those of you who just dialed us in, if that's a phrase we can use, welcome to Club O, online concerts from Unterweiler, Germany. We are featuring tonight the artist, trumpet player, and flugelhorn player, Jeff Oster. What you just listened to was Jeff playing with his band at the Phoenix in San Rafael, doing a song by Todd Boston called Full Moon. It was otherworldly, Jeff. We're all sitting here in the room, the other engineers and musicians, and we're going like, wow, what is that? Wait, no. Are they playing with a bow? No, it's a synth. No, it's Frank Martin. No. Yeah, it's just like, it just takes you into so many different dimensions. And then finally, we just stopped and just let ourselves be absorbed by the music, which was absolutely stunning.
And it's so beautiful, to have that happen live. And, I'll play, be in the middle of it, obviously. And then I don't really know all of what happened until I watch the video later. You know what I mean? You get so lost in it, and like, you heard Frank Martin's sort of the synthesizer he was doing. It sounded like almost like a flute of some kind, and Todd and the guitar, all of it. It's just the flavor of that band is just amazing, how they can change up depending upon what we're playing and where the music goes. Like that previous one we played earlier, Serengeti, there's a place where Celso starts doing almost like a disco backbeat, and then Manring's doing a doom, like it was almost like the 70s for a minute, So you just never know what's going to happen. That's of course the best part live-wise.
So speaking of never knowing, you have another project called Flow, and you are the O in Flow, which stands for Fiona and Lawrence Oster and Will Ackerman. And I listened to a lot of your videos and a lot of your live performances, and of course I've seen you live, and one of my favorite things that you've done is to take one of the songs that you have written and collaborated with Will Ackerman. Well, let's listen to this beautiful cut with you and Will called And We Dance, and then we can talk a little bit about it after we listen.
About the video? Okay, good.
Okay, here we go. And We Dance. Okay. That was absolutely lovely. And you're just going to have to tell me, I know there's 3 people in the video, Will Ackerman on guitar, Jeff Oster on trumpet, and who's the dancer?
That would be a 12-year-old Samantha Rose Oster, my daughter.
That's absolutely lovely and a beautiful tribute. A great way to end. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. We've had an absolutely delightful session here at Club O Studios. And if you've been listening to us, we've been featuring Jeff Oster, award-winning trumpet and flugelhorn player, joining us live, streaming from California. And we are here in Unterweiler, Germany.
Das letzte Stück war And We Dance von Jeff Oster und wir sind glücklich, dass wir heute Jeff Oster hier ausfragen konnten über verschiedene Punkte seines Lebens und er sehr lebendig aus allem Möglichen erzählt hat. Und mit dem verabschieden wir uns von euch und freuen uns, wenn ihr nächstes Mal wieder bei uns dabei seid.
So, that was German for saying thank you for joining us. Jeffrey, it's really been a pleasure. Wish you really great things that are coming up, and I know you've got a lot of stuff happening, and hopefully stay safe, stay sane, wear a mask, and don't forget to vote.
All of that.
All
vote.
of that.
Everybody, vote.
Vote. Have a wonderful day there in California.
I will. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share some music and some conversation with you, Ivy.
It's been delightful. Tschüss.